Hey guys, welcome back. It is your girl Sade and welcome to Sade's Mix. If you are new here, hi, welcome. And if you are returning, thank you so much. Today's topic is going to be about imposter syndrome, what it is, and my current struggles with it. For more videos about my life here in South Florida and about true crime, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. But of course, enough of my rambling. Let's get into today's topic. Has there ever been a time in your life that you have felt that everything in your life was either obtained by pure luck, even though it has been proven that you are a dedicated and hard worker? Or have you ever experienced someone giving you a compliment about your beauty, your work, your intelligence, only to quickly shut it down because in your mind you believe that this person is absolutely lying to you and that there's no way that someone would perceive you like that? Or my favorite, and I experienced this with all of my employers, when you get a new job, you immediately feel like you're a fraud and you are scared that your colleagues and your boss is going to uncover that you don't really know how to do the work, and only to find out that you are way more than capable of doing that work and that you have been performing or overperforming since you got in there. Well, I am here to let you know that what you are feeling is valid and manageable. It is a phenomenon that most people are not aware about, and it is not even talked about in psychology. The only reason why I was able to realize that I had imposter syndrome was actually from another friend who was experiencing the same feelings of self-doubt and self-sabotage. So you may be wondering, what is imposter syndrome? To put it simply, imposter syndrome is the constant feeling of self-doubt and personal failures, although you have the education, the work experience, and accomplishments to not feel inadequate to others. Some of the most common signs of imposter syndrome are fear of failure, negative self-talk, dwelling on past mistakes, feeling of inadequacy and self-sabotage, and my favorite, procrastination, and over-preparing and perfectionism. Imposter syndrome can impact everyone and anyone at any given time of your life. It usually comes in time of great change. I've noticed personally. During my research, I was able to find several celebrities who openly stated that they struggled with imposter syndrome. My favorite is the great Maya Angelou, and she once said, "I have written 11 books, but each time I think, they're going to find out now. I've ran a good game on everyone and they're going to find me out." And that's amazing. Like, Maya Angelou is an accomplished woman, numerous awards, and she at the highest level is feeling like a fraud. There's even the case of Serena Williams, who mentioned as a young girl that she struggled with imposter syndrome and still struggles with that today. She said that she would constantly follow everything that Venus would do, down to what they ate. And it got so bad that when her parents would go out for a brunch or dinner or whatever with the kids, they would make Serena order first just so that she wouldn't copy her sister. And she admits now that although she doesn't copy her sister too much, she believes that it has helped her find her own identity throughout the years. She's even stated that I am not Venus, I am Serena. I still copy Venus in many ways, but it's not as bad. I sound like I've been going through a 12-step program. And it's true, you have to learn yourself to be able to be comfortable with yourself to defeat these feelings of inferiority, because that's what it is. It's just a feeling that you're inferior, but the reality, you are not. Now, as I stated, I personally have struggled with imposter syndrome. It started back when I graduated back in 2012 with my bachelor's in psychology. It was a vicious cycle that I had in my head where I would start looking for jobs within my field, but they wanted so much, and I had just graduated with no experience because during that time, while I was in college, I was working as a full-time employee. So gathering or networking or interning for free was not realistic because I had to fend for myself to a certain degree. But, I was stuck in that vicious cycle of you can't apply here because you don't have experience. But then how do you get experience if you don't apply, if you don't take the leap of faith? And I would never take that leap of faith. Even now, I'm in my master's program for psychology, and although there are certain jobs that I know I am qualified for, I still have these negative thoughts in my head where I self-sabotage myself into not applying for specific jobs because I fear the fear of rejection and I fear the fear of failure without even knowing what's going to happen, you know? Like I stated, I did not know what the imposter syndrome was. As a psych major, it is considered pseudoscience. It's not something that is talked about, but it is a phenomenon that affects so many people that it should be considered in the DSM-5. If you don't know what the DSM-5 is, it's just basically a handbook that we practice or follow to diagnose, treat, and understand disorders. And I truly believe that an imposter syndrome is a disorder and should not be classified as a syndrome because it downplays the effects that it has. Because if not properly discussed or talked about, it could lead into so much more anxiety, depression, suicide, because you are negatively and constantly downplaying your own accomplishments. Appear in a number of different ways. Besides the feeling of self-doubt and fear of failure, we also have the perfectionist. This person is typically extremely hard on themselves and has extremely high standards and goals that for most people seem completely unattainable. And if they make any mistake, they will dwell on that for the rest of their lives. Then we have the superhero. The superhero is the type of person who is constantly involved in everyone's life, is trying to help everyone, trying to make the peace, trying to make everyone happy, but at that same time is not happy themselves. They're just basically compensating and comparing themselves to your life. Toxic. Then we have the expert. The expert is typically an individual who is always learning and is never happy or satisfied with the amount of knowledge that they have. This person is typically highly skilled and is usually a mentor of some sort, and they will constantly undermine their skill. In every one of my jobs that I've ever had, I have always been a mentor or a trainee, and I have always been told like, oh, you're so smart, you know, this may not be the job, you should be moving up, and I always downplay my accomplishments because I am so afraid of stepping out of my comfort zone. And then we have the natural genius. The natural genius, they judge their competencies basically how fast they can learn to master something or how fast they can learn to just do anything. In other words, if they're not able to do a task in an efficient amount of time that they believe, then that task is unattainable and now they feel ashamed. And finally, we have the soloist. I relate to the soloist the most because as a soloist, this person believes that asking for help will really show that they are inadequate or that they are a complete phony. There is no shame in asking for help when you need it. I had to learn this the hard way. I am not the type of person who asks for help. I'm also not the type of person to fully divulge everything that's going on or going wrong in my life. I tend to just think that if I can't overcome it, then it's not able to be overcome. But it is okay to ask for help, especially when you are at your lowest, or if you just need to just get a second opinion before making any drastic choices, you know? Now that we have a general understanding of what imposter syndrome is, let's talk about a few ways to help you cope with imposter syndrome. Now repeat after me. You're amazing, you're worthy, and you're capable. As I stated, I realized over the last 2 years, I have been struggling with imposter syndrome, and with the help of my therapist, she gave me a little bit of homework to do, and now I'm giving it to you guys to help you overcome these feelings of inadequacy and the feeling of fear of failure. You are not a failure, and you got this, okay? So first thing that I want you guys to do is separate fact from feelings. When your mind tells you, I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not capable, I don't know why I'm here, take out your pen and paper and write down all of your accomplishments. You graduated, you got a job, you got a house, you moved, whatever you have done in your life, you need to write it down and prove to yourself that you are capable. My mother does this to me all the time whenever I am at my lowest. She basically just starts from like my birth all the way up until present day and all the obstacles that I have faced and all the things that I have overcome and where I'm at now. And when you hear someone else talk about your own accomplishments, it is validation that you are worthy and that you are capable. Another thing that is super, super, super important, and I know this is something that may be extremely hard for a certain side of you, stop comparing yourself to others. The grass is not always greener on the other side. That is a real thing. So stop comparing yourself to other people. Your accomplishments will come on your time during your journey because your path in life is your journey and your journey alone. Stop comparing yourself to others. You are doing just fine. Lastly, if you start feeling like your imposter syndrome is impacting your overall life, please speak to a therapist. Sometimes just finding validations on your feelings can completely cancel out the imposter syndrome. Self-doubt can be extremely paralyzing, but the ability to be able to recognize and deal with the feelings that you are capable, that you are lovable, that you are accomplished will help break that vicious cycle. And I know many of you guys will have reservations about seeing a therapist due to financial reasons or whatever, and that's perfectly fine. I understand it, but there are other options. Talk to your family and friends. Let them know the feelings that you are feeling because you may need to have that validation that you are worthy, that you are capable, and that you are accomplished, and that you have accomplished things and will continue to grow. That is all that I have for this video though, guys. I would love to know what you think down below. Have you ever experienced these feelings of self-doubt, self-sabotage, inadequacy, and how did you overcome them? As always, I love and appreciate you guys. Be safe out there, and I will be seeing you next week. Bye.